Working with Baldoni, Taylor Swift's dad has entered the chat. Plus, we have Kim Kardashian that is now on her way to officially become a lawyer. She's just graduated law school. Ryan Reynolds wants to make Baldoni's team pay up. And I've got Lauren from the Court of Random Opinion and attorney Leanne Newton on the podcast today. Lots to dive into. It's going to be a fun one. Get ready. Let's dive in. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. Welcome on in, everybody in the club. What's going on? Happy Thursday. Oh, Thursday. Finally, it's Thursday. I feel like I've been waiting for Thursday since last Thursday. My week has just been completely turned upside down and all around, and what a time. But hi, welcome on in, welcome on in. Zach, did you get some muscles for the summer, or is that the shirt? These are my muscles. Ooh, ooh. Just get it. Urgh. These are my muscles. Um, did you gain some muscles for the summer? I've been trying to gain some muscles. I mean, I think it is partially the cut of the shirt. It just shows off the muscles a little bit more. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Oh. To crush your face with. To crush the lively bots. To crush the Blake bots. Oh, Donna Bowling is here. Guys, Donna Bowling's coming on tour with me this summer. It's going to be so yummy. Donna and Stu are both going to be with me in New York and in Chi-Town, Chicago. It's gonna be a fun time. It's gonna be a wet, hot summer. It's gonna be a wet, hot summer. Let's get it. I'm coming to Dallas, Phoenix, Philadelphia, Toronto, Brooklyn, Chicago, Seattle, Los Angeles. In Dallas, I'm gonna have Colonel Kurtz. We're gonna be breaking down all the yummy Baldoni discovery. In Phoenix, same thing, but I'm gonna have Andy from Popcorned Planet, which is going to be exciting. Hopefully, by then, he'll have an update on his Blake and Baldoni documentary, but he's going to be joining me on stage. In Philly, I'm going to have the Brav Bros and Giorgio Says. So if you're a reality TV junkie, that's going to be a really fun one. You may even I'm so excited to announce like the headlining guests in each of the different cities, which I believe we'll begin doing next week as we go into June. But yeah, Philly's going to be a lot of fun. That's gonna be a good one. Brooklyn is gonna have Donna Bowling and Chef Stu. Chicago's gonna have Donna Bowling and Chef Stu again because they're back-to-back nights. Seattle's gonna have the Sidley twins. Los Angeles is gonna have Christy from Spill Sesh, Louis Levanti, Andy Lawani from the Pop Report. So it's gonna be fun. Also, I think I just confirmed, I may be saying this prematurely. I think we may end up having Ask Two Lawyers in the Los Angeles show too. That's a little bit of like a premature announcement. I'm hoping that scheduling works out, but I would love. We're working on it. We're working on it. So yes, and also I wanted to. So get your tickets at nofilterlive.com. Go to nofilterlive.com. Get your tickets. It's gonna be so fun. We're gonna be playing games. We're going to be spilling tea, royalty, Blake and Baldoni legal tea, reality tea. You're going to meet some of your favorite reality stars. You're going to meet some of your favorite creators. It's going to be fun. Each show is going to be different, and it's just going to be a fun night out. So come get Zactivated with us. Get your tickets at nofilterlive.com. Also, I just want to say this at the top of the show. This wasn't in my initial notes, but I saw some chatter going around, and I saw some people in my comments that are like, don't have the Ask Two Lawyers guys back on your show. And like people seem to be like really mad at the Ask Two Lawyers guys right now. I didn't watch their live this week. I did see that there was that wackadoodle creator that was like dragging them on her Instagram account. And obviously I've been dragged by that person unfairly and with some very vile remarks and allegations that were made against me that were way off basis. And obviously people warned me about that specific person. But when I saw them go after the Ask Two Lawyers guys, and then I see like people coming at them. And I just want to be very clear. We're not all going to see everything the same way, and we're not all going to agree on things. And that's okay. I don't know what I feel like people have told me that they've maybe changed their position a bit on the Van Zandt lawsuit from Blake Lively, or maybe they've shifted their perspective, which is totally fine and normal. And I trust their opinion because guess what? They're attorneys, they're experts, they're allowed to have their own opinion. We're allowed to disagree on certain things. I have Leanne and Lauren that are going to be joining us in just a bit, and I'm pretty sure they are going to have different takes on things, and that's okay. We're not all going to agree on everything. We shouldn't want to live in an echo chamber. And I'm just telling you right now, if you are looking for a show or you're looking for a podcast or someone that's only going to tell you what you want to hear, this is not the show for you. There's the door. Thank you. Next, I'm going to have on a variety of guests with a variety of opinions. I like to play devil's advocate. I like to have differing opinions. That's how we got here. In case you've forgotten, I was one of the few people that was questioning Blake Lively's story when the New York Times article dropped. I take my beatings on the internet accordingly. And people did not like me when I was questioning Blake at first because it went against the Me Too believe women narrative. And so, sorry, but the don't tell me who I can and cannot have on my show. I can confidently say I probably will have the Ask Two Lawyers on again soon, pending their availability. I would love to have them on every week if I could, and I will, just to piss some of you guys off. Don't be policing creators and their content, and I don't like supporting other creators that want to tear people down. So I don't like, and that's why I wanted to use my platform to stand up for them because I don't like seeing another creator tear other people down just for having a difference of opinion for one matter of this entire Baldoni Blake Lively legal drama saga. Okay, that's all it is. It's one big case. We're all on the same page. Let's not fight with each other. Let's not try to turn our audiences against each other. That's low level bullshit, and I'm not going to stand for that. It's not appropriate, not cool. Only losers do that. So sorry, not going to do that here. And I'm going to continue to stand up for other creators and share my platform with them and share my stage with them. And I love the Ask Two Lawyers guys. So whether their opinion on the Van Zandt lawsuit has shifted or not, I don't really care. In fact, I care even more to have them on so that we can have a conversation where we have a difference of um, opinions. I think that's healthy. We have to, especially when it's this legal drama, because you have to look at things from different angles, especially people that disagree with you, because that's how you prepare yourself. That's how you stay ahead of the game, you know? So, yeah, that's my soapbox that I'm gonna stand on today. I have a couple more. I want to talk about Kim Kardashian and Travis Kelce in just a sec, and then in a few minutes, I'm going to welcome on Leanne Newton and Lauren from the Court of Random Opinion. But first, before we dive into that, a quick message from this week's sponsor. Are you feeling off after the COVID vaccine? Well, you're not alone, and new research backs it up. In a groundbreaking study, Risk Stratisfaction for Future Cardiac Arrest After the Jab, Dr. Peter McCullough highlights an alarming rise in sudden cardiac events among young and previously healthy individuals. His study found that tiny hidden patches of heart inflammation, often missed by doctors, could silently be building up, leading to sudden heart attacks during exercise or sleep. That's why the wellness company created the 3-in-1 Ultimate Spike Detox, crafted with 100% natural ingredients specifically designed to help your body clear harmful spike proteins, reduce inflammation, and support heart health. Don't wait until symptoms strike. Experience the only formula approved and used by Dr. McCullough, a top freedom fighting doctor who risked it all. Head to twc.health/nofilter and use code NOFILTER to get 15% off plus free shipping. Again, that's twc.health/nofilter and use code NOFILTER to get 15% off. Get back to that pre-COVID feeling. Okay, Kim Kardashian has just announced that she's graduated law school. Obviously, she did it in a very different way. I'm like, ooh, is this the way that I want to do it? Because this is how you can do it in California. You don't have to actually go to like Harvard Law. You don't have to do the Elle Woods thing. Now you can do the Kim Kardashian thing. And so Kim, congrats to Kim. She just celebrated. She finished her, I think it's like an internship that you have to do. It's like an apprenticeship that I think only 3 states in the US allow you to go this route rather than going to law school, like formally going to law school and getting a law degree. You can do like an apprenticeship with a judge or with an existing law firm. I believe there was a law firm that she did up in Northern California that she worked with, and so she did that apprenticeship program with them. She just completed it. Normally, you have to do 4 years, but I guess it took her a bit longer, so it took her 6 years to complete the program because of COVID. There were delays and whatnot, and obviously her career has taken so many shifts over the past couple years with working with Ryan Murphy and getting into acting and producing, yada yada yada. But congrats to Kim Kardashian. Um, Travis Kelce. There were these. I feel like this is a plant from Blake's legal team. So the Page Six published these photos of Travis. They're like Travis Kelce peeled off his shirt in the heat, so he was out, I guess, working out, and they got these photos of him and his very hairy back, and people are like, "Well, I guess that we can put the lesbian rumors of Taylor Swift to rest because only a straight woman could love a man like this." He definitely has a hairy back for sure. He like the back could use some of Blake Lively's hair mist. I think that I just want to get Blake Lively's hair mist and spray it all over Travis's back. I'm surprised Blake Lively didn't send Taylor Swift a PR package for that. Um, but it was just kind of funny that they posted these very unflattering photos of him. I expected him to have like a more chiseled body. I don't know. I guess because when you're in the Super Bowl and you're an NFL player, like you just expect them to have a more chiseled body because they're constantly like working out and running around the field. But he definitely doesn't have abs. But I wouldn't say he's unattractive in any way. But these are very unflattering photos, and I'm like, did she set somebody up for this? Because actually, maybe Taylor Swift dropped some news about her music catalog, and I guess Scooter Braun is trying to sell it back to her. She has the option to buy it back, which has kind of taken the focus of the headlines surrounding Taylor Swift, and rather than focusing on the Blake Lively legal drama, it's shifted to Scooter Braun once again. So I don't know, but I just thought it was funny. Page Six said, "Big Yeti, Travis Kelce goes shirtless in Miami after a sweaty NFL training session." But it was like, these are deliberately unflattering photos. I was like, is this a PR plant? Leslie Sloan, are you up to this? I just thought it was funny because then everybody's talking about his hairy back, his big hairy back, which is just not the cutest vibe. But also, like, a little laser hair removal could fix that up real quick, you know? Miriam says his yummy hairy back. Ew. Sophie says, I've seen hairier because I follow Catfish's Nev and he's super hairy. Oh, he is super hairy. I do like Nev though. Felicia says, Zach, I think you might reach 100K subs this weekend. I know, you guys, we're so freaking close. We're at 99.6. We're less than 400 away from 100K, which is crazy. Like, we're gonna hit it this weekend. Like, there's no way we can't not hit it. Could you imagine if come Monday I have to come on the podcast and be like, well, we didn't make it, guys. Sorry. That would be really sad. Travis is a man with manly features. I have manly features too. I could show you. You don't even my back. I will say my back does not look like this, but my chest. I have a nice hairy chest. I have a white chest hair. It's very salt and pepper. I'm not even 32. I'm a few weeks away from turning 32, and I'm salt and pepper all over. Like there's salt and I have salt and pepper here, and I could just say the curtains match the drapes. It's very rare. People don't believe me until I show them. I need some hair to grab onto. Ew. Lauren says, so yummy. So yummy. Well, good luck to Travi. Good luck to Taylor. Okay, without further ado, there's so much Taylor Swift drama to get into, Ryan Reynolds drama. There are so many legal filings that have been filed over the past 2 weeks. And it's nice to have somebody else that I can bounce around my thoughts and feelings with. So I have 2 very special guests on the show today. Please welcome Leanne Newton and Lauren from the Court of Random Opinion. Hi, guys.
What's up, man?
How are you?
Hiya.
Oh gosh, I'm so glad I caught that about the back hair, guys. Thank you for that.
Isn't it so yummy?
Oh, I hate that word now so much. But yes,
It's so here. We'll just pull it up one last time, so that way we can see Travis Kelce's yummy.
yeah. If we
back.
could just get a close up on that.
We just need to zoom in on this yummy, hairy back.
Bro, why does it
It's
look like
just
somebody waxed part of it?
right, like like it's patchy. Like he needs to call Beard Club and have them send him a kit for the back. So, when guys have a patchy beard, they go to Beard Club to do all the supplements and
There's a
the hair
beard club?
oils. It's he needs something. He needs to fix his back.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's gonna be some sort of weird Regina George like trend here. I don't know. We'll see.
We're all just gonna have hairy backs now. Um, Thank you, Lissy Quinn. Okay, so guys, I want to talk about we saw Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds file motions for sanction in the past week. Leanne, what is your take on this? So my analysis of it was I feel like maybe this is a way for them to try to get Jennifer Abel, Melissa Nathan, Sarowitz, and Jamie Heath removed from this to maybe bring down the potential payout that they're likely going to have to pay out in the end. If they eliminate those parties, they eliminate their attorney's fees and will likely bring down the 400 million that Baldoni is trying to sue for. That this could be a tactic that they see themselves losing this legal battle in the end, and maybe this is a way for them to bring down that price tag. How are you? What were your thoughts when you saw the motions to sanction from Reynolds and Lively?
Well, after I finished rolling my eyes, um, they've jumped the gun a little bit, I think, because they've obviously mirrored their motions to dismiss. So it's not really they shouldn't have done this. I don't see them getting it granted. I'm not sure if they've done it to bring down the damages though, per se, because part of the damages is going to be the value of the sequel as well. And the first film did, about 360 million. I think it would be reasonable to hope that the sequel would have done maybe not quite as well, but it would have got to at least half of that. So that's going to be included in damages. And Baldoni is the one who optioned the books. So he's still going to have substantial damages, I think.
So then is this really just another way to nudge the motion to dismiss? Because obviously we don't have answers on the motions to dismiss. And I kind of
Yeah,
feel like this is another way that they're trying to get dismissed by not by, as we wait for the judge to weigh in on their motions.
I think so. Yeah, I do think that's it. I mean, they've also got to get the sanctions in as well, because they've got to have it on record. Because if they do get dismissed with prejudice, then those sanctions could come into play. But one thing I will say is with regards to the attorney's fees and everything, I think with them all being together under the same attorneys, and if you look at what Wayfarer's attorneys do, instead of writing a letter for each party, which is what Lively and Reynolds did with these motions to sanction, they responded with one letter collectively. So you're saving a lot of money as well.
Lauren, how are you feeling? Were you shocked to see these new motions to sanction? I thought a lot of
No, I
people
mean,
were expecting them to be against Friedman for outing the Taylor Swift extortion
right.
news, but it was really because they wanted to get the other parties
I mean, they went
sanctioned
into
and
that a
removed.
little tiny bit. Like they glazed over that, but they did mention it. I really again feel like, and I keep saying this on all my shows, is like I feel like a lot of this is for press because they were kind of successful from what I was seeing, relatively successful in like making them look bad when the judge struck the letter from the record, because you have lots of people who are saying like, oh look, they did something wrong, or oh look, that wasn't true now, and that's not really the case. I feel like that was stricken because it was like the improper forum, and also that wasn't really the place for that or the time. But I
Yeah,
feel like a lot of it is for press and how optics and stuff like that. But I feel like no matter what happens with the monetary damages, I feel pretty strongly that these people are they're very strong to their beliefs and their values. They're all a lot of these parties share a common religion with the Baha'i principles and all that. I feel like they're very interested in the sort of truth seeking and justice part of this, where they want a retraction, they want an apology. So they don't really. I'm not saying they don't care about the money, but I'm saying like even if it is 360 mil, even if it's 300 mil, even if it's not anything other than 400 mil, it has to come with that statement saying this was wrong. This is not what happened. So
Yeah, and I don't think they're gonna get the 400 mil. I think anytime you go into a lawsuit, you throw out an astronomical number,
yeah,
knowing that you're gonna end up falling somewhere in the middle. So I don't think that they'll be getting 400 mil, but I mean, they're gonna have. I predict they will have a very pretty settlement that will come a very pretty penny. But ultimately, I agree with you. I think the reason they're fighting this and the reason they don't are unlikely to settle before trial is because they need the public statement of acknowledgement that both Blake and Ryan lodged this war against them that was unnecessary,
yeah.
improper, and just flat out false.
I
But
do
I
feel
don't know
like
if I
there's
can see Ryan and Blake apologizing.
no. That's why this is probably going to go to court. So that's why. I mean, because they're not going to admit to doing wrong. It's
But I
not that
mean,
they won't pay up, but they won't admit to doing wrong. So
but even then, like, let's say this goes to court and let's say the jury does weigh in Baldoni's favor. Is that enough to if we still don't get the acknowledgement? I mean, I guess it does kind of prove that they're liars, but like I
yeah,
feel like I want the apology more than anybody. Like I feel like
yeah.
I need this apology now.
Well, I think we have kind of the it makes it hard to nail down as well because we have kind of the major face of this Wayfarer side who is being largely silent. I mean, he's done like one social media post since whatever he's been. I know the press had him out in Hawaii, so it obviously seems like he's trying to stay away from the spotlight and stuff like that. And that makes it harder to nail down what's going on their side. Then you find out that Brian Friedman has been sitting on this since February, the Taylor Swift stuff, and it's like we really don't have any idea exactly what they have in their back pocket here. So I just feel like it's so hard to really predict anything. That's all I can really say with any sort of confidence is I really feel like they want that retraction. So
Yeah. What did you guys think of Candace Owens' announcement yesterday that she has a source that claims that it was Taylor Swift's dad, Travis? Or sorry, his name's not Travis. What's his name?
dude, no, not Travis.
I was well because
No.
everybody keeps speculating. They're like, it was either Travis, it was her dad,
Wrong
or it was
daddy.
her publicist,
Wow.
Scott.
Whoa.
Scott is the dad's name, Scott.
That's awesome.
I was looking at Travis's back hair, or hid the photo. I have it down in the green room, and I was looking. I was like, should I remove that? Or I was like, no,
I bet
it'll
you
come up.
do.
It'll come up again at some point.
Oh God, it's right there.
So do you think that I don't know if I believe she was like, I came out of maternity leave because I had an exclusive, and most of the video was kind of her just recapping the news that came over the last week, and people had kind of, deduced down to it's either Travis, it's Scott Swift, or it's her publicist that was likely the person that was close to Taylor Swift that called Friedman. Do you think it was Scott?
It makes most sense to me for it to be her dad, but I feel like Candace Owens is such a polarizing figure. And I never really give opinions on politics or anything like that. So I'm not even, please don't, nobody in the chat take this as a political statement. I don't always agree with her. I don't always disagree with her, so it's hard to, I think, for a lot of people to separate what they disagree with from what somebody's saying when they don't really know. So they're automatically going to be like, well, this is stupid. This can't be right because she's a terrible person because of X,
Yeah.
Y, Z. And then you see other people on the exact opposite extreme of that. And I'm kind of somewhere in the middle where I'm feeling like, yeah, it makes sense, but that's far from a total confirmation. But it does make sense. I feel like it makes the most sense, probably, of anything that's been thrown out there. So
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like when Megyn Kelly did the interview with Brian Friedman, and people are like, "Oh, we're not taking that seriously." When I thought she did a great job with that interview, and I, have a lot of respect for the fact that Brian Friedman was willing to sit down and answer some of the hard questions that she threw his way.
mm-hmm.
And she challenged him.
Yeah.
She didn't just kind of question him as her former lawyer. She actually pushed back quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Leanne, we got a lot of court filings this week, which you've done a really good job of breaking down on X. Every time I'm like, okay, I don't have time to sit here and read her 1,000-page filing this week, which I know, Lauren, you do a good job of going page by page on your live streams. But Leanne, can you just give us a recap of what we saw in the legal filings this week outside of the motion to sanction? Because the lively parties keep throwing stuff out there.
Oh, I know. It's getting a lot for one person to sit and go through. So this week, so we obviously ended last week with Jed Wallace's huge Blake Lively's big filing to dismiss from his lawsuit in Texas. I'm pulling up my ex now because I can't remember. But there's been so many motions to compel. We got Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Obviously, they filed these motions for sanctions. Then Blake Lively has filed the motion to compel Wayfarer to give up documents from a private investigation, which they don't actually have documents from. Leslie Sloan has just filed a motion to compel, I think it's the Daily Mail reporter, but not Josh. James. We've had Lively's unsealed interrogatories of Baldoni. Oh gosh. Is that it? I don't know. Lauren, has there been anything else off the top of your head?
I mean, there's so much stuff outstanding right now that it's kind of like hard to keep track of everything. I think you pretty much nailed it.
Yeah, it was
Wayfarer
mainly
also opposed Mark Lively's motion to compel the investigation. That's the other thing. That was funny.
Yeah. That was a good. Can you recap that for us, Lauren? The motion, them fighting back at the Lively parties.
Oh, from last night? Yeah.
Yeah,
So they're basically saying this investigation is ongoing. We don't have these documents that you're asking for. We told you this 11 days ago or whatever on May 10th that we don't have the documents and that the investigation is still, we're not getting them until they're finished. And then they decided to write the judge anyway. So this is not a proper ask. There was some other stuff about Leanne. Maybe you can speak to this more. Like work product or attorney work product, was it?
Yeah, so they were citing. So basically, because what's happened here is, and it's quite a standard thing in employment situations. Certainly in the UK, we have the same thing. Someone raises a complaint, of discrimination, unfair dismissal, sexual harassment, all kinds of things, and the employer can bring in a third party. So it could be a law firm, it could be like a mediation service or anything like that. And they come in and they basically conduct an investigation. Lively made quite a lot of they're bought and paid for because Wayfarer put in their bill, which annoyed me a bit because someone has to pay their bill. Who's going to pay the bill? Like, because it would be, how's it going to look? She's got resources to pay the bill, but most people who file these kind of complaints don't. So how is it going to look if you say to the person making the complaint, well, you pay the bill?
Right. So to recap it real quickly, though, to catch people up to speed. So after Lively filed her CRD complaint and brought forth these allegations of harassment, Wayfarer then reached out to a third party a neutral third party to investigate her claims. And so now what we're seeing is that she's fighting for those documents. She's like, I want to see what you have in that investigation, even though she and her legal team have refused to participate in this neutral third party investigation. They now want Wayfarer to turn over the documents or everything that they've found so far in that investigation. Wayfarer is saying the investigation is ongoing. We don't have any conclusive results as of yet. Also a big part because the person lodging these complaints against us won't participate in the investigation.
She
they
also
won't be interviewed.
She wouldn't she would not give names of witnesses to people who could attest to her side. They welcomed her to do that, and she said no. So
she said no because she doesn't trust. She's like, because the investigation is coming from Wayfarer. They're paying for it, and they're the ones that are that opened up this investigation, and we don't trust Wayfarer. But it's like, well, then who do you want to do an investigation?
But she also said, though, well, if you'd done it at the time, I would have participated. So it's like, well, which is it? Do you not trust the process? Or is it, well, you're not participating because it's late? But Wayfarer have obviously come back and said, well, hold on a minute. We've never even heard of these complaints until the CRDs. So I kept referring to them as new claims.
Well, she chose to forego a formal HR process. She made that choice before. So she knows why they didn't do it before, because she didn't want to make a formal complaint because there was nothing to back up her claims, which were not really, she wasn't really making any sexual harassment claims. She was just saying, you cannot do this from now on. You cannot do this from now on. Not, this is what happened to me. Somebody needs to look into this. But she also, like people have pointed out, said, and I think she may have at some point communicated this to Sony, where like she's like, I don't want to make a formal complaint. I don't
She
want a formal
did.
process. So there's like a track record or like a trail of her saying, I don't want this. I don't want this. And now continually with the cease and desist into this investigation, I don't want this, because now it's a really sketchy thing, because it's a pattern where you're like, don't look into what I'm saying. Just listen to it.
And there's also, she declined investigation via the CRD. She also could have gone to the EEOC and declined an investigation there. So every step of the way where there's an investigation open to her, she has said no.
I mean, which I think to me is like, if you have the evidence, which she claimed in her lawsuit against Baldoni, that they have overwhelming amounts of evidence that they plan to bring forth, but they want Baldoni to provide all that evidence because they can't seem to find it in their back pocket now. But it's great. Like, this is where you think your case can be proven, is in a neutral third party investigation. I understand them being like, well, but it should have happened during production. But again, Wayfair has maintained that they did not receive any formal HR complaints regarding harassment in the workplace throughout production. And Sony has even gone on record at this point and said that they have not received any formal HR complaints regarding any harassment in the workplace. The only HR complaint I believe Wayfair has said that they received was regarding 2 crew members, and it was an ageism complaint that was investigated, and ultimately there was nothing conclusive that came out of that, and it was closed.
Something that I feel like is really frustrating about that I feel like people who are a little more neutral, or people who lean a little more towards believe, Blake because she's the victim in the scenario, don't realize is that people who have been in these situations before, or just people who have generally been through sexual harassment, sexual abuse, that kind of thing, a lot of us wish that we had the opportunities that she had to have people, step in and intervene, but she had the privilege to have that and chose not to. So now we're at this point where there's all this evidence that she did all this crap. And then you have to stand up and say, hey, I don't believe that this is true. I believe that they're trying to ruin a really good man. And this is why, and I can point to XYZ reasons. And then people are like, well, you're a terrible person. You're a misogynist. You're a right-wing pipeline or whatever. But the truth is, like, no, it takes a lot of guts to have gone through something like that and to stand up and be like, this is not okay. Because every time somebody has to do that and they get a whole bunch of backlash for it, it hurts. It's not like it's a fun thing and people are like, oh, it's like you're making money off of this or whatever. Like, no, like it hurts to stand up and say like, hey, I went through this and this is what happened to me. And this is why I'm not okay with this. And this is why it's so hard to watch this person with so much power and influence stand up and say, I'm going to be a champion for women and girl safety and stuff like that. And then to have people be like, well, you're a misogynist. You have internalized misogyny and all this shit. So it's just, and sorry for the language. It just comes out, dude. I'm sorry. But
You're right.
It's just very hard to kind of see that and see so many people doing that. And to have them get talked to the way that they do by people who are saying, well, she's the victim. You need to believe the woman, believe the victim. Because no, if you want to believe the woman, believe the victim, that doesn't only happen when it's convenient, and it doesn't stop at, well, the case is over. So if you talk to somebody who's been through this kind of thing and they're like, hey, something doesn't smell right here. And you're like, well, you're just a piece of crap. No. That's a problem. That's a problem too. So
yeah, and it's like she had multiple opportunities to. So let's just believe. Let's believe women right now. Let's believe her. And she said, okay, Sony told her they didn't want to deal with this. This is Wayfair's problem, which to me would then mean, well, then you should have dragged Sony into this lawsuit because they also failed to have any sort of duty to protect you on set, and they had a role in this film as well. Okay, fine. We'll say Sony told her go to Wayfair, and then Wayfair chose to ignore her. So then she had the opportunity to bring this forth in the CRD complaint, right? They could have investigated it, and she waived the California what is the California
civil rights?
Oh, civil. I was thinking C stood for California. It's Civil Rights Department complaint that she'd made. They had the option to investigate that. That is not paid for by Baldoni. That is not launched by Wayfair. It's its own independent agency that could have investigated that for her. And she chose not to. She wanted the right to sue. She got her right to sue, didn't sue until after he sued the New York Times for defamation. And then she brought forth her lawsuit against him. So, and I believe that lawsuit was specific towards a California lawsuit, not even her New York lawsuit that she ultimately ended up filing. Is that correct, Leanne?
Yeah, that's right.
So,
There is
and
what
then now we have this third party that Wayfair is now bringing to the table saying, hey, now we want to investigate this. And she still is refusing to have any sort of investigation into her claims.
and there was another avenue she could have gone through before the CRD, which was SAG-AFTRA.
Oh, yeah. Which they
She
had no
didn't.
involvement. They came out with the
No.
statement and have since been very quiet since that statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, she
it's
had every single opportunity that every probably abused woman who's felt silenced or who's felt afraid ever wished that they had, and she was just like, "Nah, I don't need it. We're good." Why is
which
that?
is
It's because you had another motive.
yeah. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
only logical conclusion that we can come to is that there was an ulterior motive, because when you put all those pieces together, then you factor in the other layers, right? The Van Zen lawsuit where they, in my opinion, improperly obtained Baldoni's text messages behind his back and then leaked those to the New York Times and, conveniently left out context. And then you have the fact that she withdrew the Van Zen lawsuit and ended up filing the CRD complaint, but then she sued in New York. And it's like when you see the chess game that was being played here, it seems like it was very well thought out. And this was the true untraceable smear campaign that we've brought forth.
Yeah, I agree with that completely.
What do
I
you
mean,
think? Oh, go
it was
ahead.
improper. That lawsuit was completely and utterly improper. I'm hoping to see Wayfarer file a motion to get the evidence from that suppressed, which would be all the text messages, and that could actually
That would
see
ruin
her
her case.
retaliation claim fall apart then.
Because that's all she's focused on right now is the retaliation complaint, is the retaliation
Yeah,
issue. But the retaliation really links back to the text messages, but ultimately links back to the harassment. So she has to prove that she brought forth harassment claims, and therefore, as a result of those harassment claims, there was this retaliation campaign that was launched against her to silence her. I don't think she's going to be able to prove that. I also don't think she has evidence of this, because they keep saying this is an untraceable smear campaign. And it's like, okay, well, if it's untraceable, then like, what are you going to use a ruler to trace it back to what? Like, you also claim that you didn't know who the defendants were when you launched the Van Zandt lawsuit against them. So to me, it just seems like she's grasping at straws, which is partially why she filed these new motions for sanction. But Leanne, so do you predict that the motions to dismiss and the motions for sanctions that they filed in recent weeks, do you think those will get dismissed, and when should we be hearing about those?
there's no deadline for the judge. He's got huge caseloads. So he will be prioritizing what's coming up, what's more important. I can't see these motions for sanctions succeeding. I really can't. I can understand. I know a lot of people weren't happy with the motion to strike. However, I understood the logic behind it. I understood why the judge did it. But I just can't. I can't see it at all. I don't think I don't think people are getting dismissed from any of these lawsuits,
Not even the New
including
York Times?
not even the New York Times. I don't think. I can't guarantee that, obviously, because it's down to the judge. But I think there is enough to put some issues of fact in there, between the metadata and the statement from Megan Twohey on that video clip. And then there's the question of, well, the metadata obviously puts a date of October, but then so does the Van Zandt subpoena. So now there is stuff there to kind of raise the question of, well, hold on, there might be something here. And I think the judge is going to have just enough that he might be able to say, I can't dismiss it because there's some issues of fact which are for the jury to sort out, not for the judge. My strongest case for getting dismissed, I think, was Jed Wallace from Blake Lively's New York case against them. I think that
Yeah.
affidavit is, when someone puts forward an affidavit That's a really strong statement. And she is also in her Rule 202 petition for the deposition that she tried to get. She had to basically do a sworn declaration confirming she did not know what evidence there was, and she needed that deposition to find the evidence. So I think she's going to struggle to keep him there. But again, I don't know for certain.
Do you think Jed Wallace is going to win his case against Blake Lively?
I think he's got a strong case. She definitely lumped him in, and when I read the CRD, I was like, oh my god, because I've heard of Jed Wallace. I know of his kind of role in the Bam Margera case. So when I read it all and read the New York Times initially when it first came out, I was like, oh my goodness, is he why would he do that? Now I'm sitting here wondering, why is she asserting a sexual harassment privilege against a man who wasn't even retained by the company, by the people who allegedly sexually harassed her, until more than a year and a half later? And then she keeps talking about, well, he's punishing me, he's muzzling me, he's retaliating against me. And I'm still struggling with, what is his motive? Why would he be punishing you?
Yeah, what does he gain from punishing Blake Lively?
Exactly. What, like, to me, all I can see is he's been paid to provide a service, and she can't seem to prove anything more than that. So I'm struggling with, why is he even brought into the lawsuit? And clearly she didn't know, because when she filed the lawsuit, she didn't include him.
That's true. She only included him in the CRD complaint, and then once the lawsuit was officially filed, that's when
after he sued her.
His name. Yeah, but the crazy part about that was, she had already outed him in the New York Times. Like, the CRD complaint already named him, and that got published in the New York Times. And so his reputation had already taken the hit. So for her to not even then pursue the lawsuit against him specifically, I understand why he is pissed.
Yeah, I understand it too, because it didn't separate out who was accused of what. You had to really read into it. But on the face of it, you had all these names together, and then you had words like sexual harassment, retaliation, smear campaign, and certainly with the men, you're sitting there thinking, right, okay, all these men have sexually harassed her, but that's not the case at all.
Yeah, even some of the claims that she made against them, which again, a lot of them, I think her credibility has been shot with I saw Jamie Heath on Mother's Day posted the actual birthing video that Blake showed. And obviously Instagram didn't find anything wrong with it because the video stood up. There wasn't any community violations.
There was nothing wrong with that video. That's just it. That was absolutely insane. And it was the Adam Monshine allegations for me, which she watered down in the New York case. But then when you look at Jed Wallace's, where he can't speak to the allegations and what she's saying because he wasn't there, they've actually got worse. Like, instead of being nearly nude, she is now completely nude. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Which also, again, has nothing to do with Jed Wallace. He wasn't there on the set when she was completely nude or partially nude, or she was wearing briefs or had, a tampon covering her. Like, who knows? Like, the way she made it. Sorry, I meant a pad. I meant a pad because that's what she made it sound like in her initial complaint.
Man, what?
She's like, she said it was a tiny piece of fabric that was covering her.
Yeah. So it was a modesty cloth. It's commonly used, because obviously these kind of scenes are quite commonplace in films. But obviously they've come out and said, no, you had shorts on and you were allowed to have whatever you wanted. Actually, we've got the footage, but yeah, she watered it down a lot in her amended complaint in the New York one. But then when you look at the Jed Wallace complaint and the DC motion to intervene, she has gone and taken it nuclear again, and suddenly she's no longer just, I'm just partially nude. It's now, I'm nude. And it really irritates me because it shows that she's not telling the truth.
Mhm.
Yeah. She's not, and I think that's obvious. And it's funny seeing more and more of the Blake supporters just finding ways to twist themselves into pretzels to try and, like even with the news of the Taylor Swift alleged extortion, right? That Brian Friedman came out and filed his affidavit in. They were like, well, he's lying. He's probably not telling the truth, or he's misrepresenting that in some way. But he was very clear that he received a voicemail. The voicemail came in February, and since then, here's the chain of events, and this is why they need this subpoena to move through. I believe that subpoena is due. An answer is due today, right, Leanne?
I think so. Yes, I do think so, actually.
It's May 22nd, and it was
Oh, is it next week, actually? No, because it's 14 days.
14 days. And it was issued, what, on the 8th?
Yes.
It says
Oh,
here
so-
that-
No, that's Taylor Swift's subpoena, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's due an answer on that's due an answer today.
Yeah,
So
we should have
it's the motion to quash. That is due an answer, I think, next week. The one from her law firm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that answer's due next week.
Okay. I get those two mixed up. Obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, I had Leanne come in the next day. I was like, Leanne, please help me. I do not understand what this means.
So there are two then, right? There's the one to Taylor Swift directly, and then there's the one to her law firm, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And
So
so
the motion to quash is for the law firm Taylor Swift. As of now, and I'm on docket watch, but as of now, she has not filed anything to quash her subpoena.
So do we think that she's going to comply?
She could do. I mean,
I do.
it's quite a standard thing. She was brought into this. I'm not saying that she was involved in this heavily or she manipulated anyone, but through Blake Lively's own statements throughout that entire press tour, her words were, she was all over this film. She was with me at everything. There's suggestions that she may have had some role. We don't know what it is in some of the casting. Certainly, the young Lily. That her film was used, and the film, not the film. Sorry, her song was used for the film, and that was kind of used, it was used as leverage to get the film by credit removed. So she's got information, and that is all they're looking for. Is what do you know? Who said what?
Deadline just put out an article. Justin Baldoni dropped the subpoena directly to Taylor Swift.
Have they?
Yeah.
How do they know?
Okay. Oh yeah, it just dropped 24 minutes ago. Shake that subpoena off. Taylor Swift probe Justin Baldoni in Blake Lively battle tryst. Let's review this really quickly then.
I'm just looking for it.
Here, I'll pull it up. Okay, so it looks like.
So they said that they would, if that would become moot, and they would then do another one that's narrower in scope. So this does not mean what Blake's reps here are trying to say that it means. I'm obviously not going to read the whole thing right here, but they're saying that it means, they withdrew the harassing subpoenas. Basically, they have nothing to do with it. That's not true though, because Brian Friedman already said in his letter that was then, I think it was in his letter that was stricken, that they would that would become moot because they were working with them in good faith, and they would do something with a narrower scope. So that's they're trying to play it off now here that it's Justin and them, they cut this out because that was BS, but that's not true. They're just
well, not only that, but Friedman initially said that they were well, I would imagine, based off of the info that Candace Owens gave us yesterday about Taylor Swift's dad potentially being the one that called Friedman, I would think, because he also Friedman also told us that he was talking with with Taylor Swift's legal team, that they were having in good faith conversations. So I would imagine maybe they dropped the Taylor Swift subpoena, but
Right.
still pursue the Venable subpoena, which is her law firm, so that they can get the information that they need. I don't think Taylor Swift's text messages are going to be very relevant. Well, let's
they
see. It
can
says
still they can still have her deposed and ask,
right.
were you asked to
Yeah,
delete
the
text
deposition I
messages?
think is
Yeah.
more important than the
So
text messages.
yeah, I can already see there's some statements a little lower in this article, I think, that are pretty disingenuous from the Blake Lively side of this, where they're
Let's
like,
see.
well, they were harassing them with subpoenas that were unnecessary.
It's-
No, that's not what that means.
It says, in an unexpected move, it ends with a star and director has withdrawn the paperwork seeking information from Swift about what she knew about what went down with her pal Blake Lively. Got it. Having said that, reps for Baldoni, his Wayfair Studios, and execs did not respond on Thursday's request for comment on the withdrawal of the high-profile subpoena. I would imagine we have but
They're not
before
gonna
end of
comment,
day
yeah.
today, we have a statement in TMZ from Brian Friedman. Let's see. We are pleased that Justin Baldoni and the Wayfair parties have withdrawn the harassing subpoenas to Taylor Swift and her law firm. Oh, so it looks like they withdrew both of them. This morning, we supported the efforts of Taylor Swift's team to quash these inappropriate subpoenas directed to her counsel, and we will continue to stand up for third parties who is unjustly harassed and threatened in the process. And of course, this has been the Lively versus Baldoni case. There was always more to say. The Baldoni and Wayfair team have tried to put Taylor Swift, a woman who has been an inspiration for tens of millions across the globe, at the center of this case from day one. The Lively spokesperson said of their client's close pal, they have to always continue to let us know that this is a close pal.
Yeah, they seem so close right now, guys. I mean, God.
Exploiting Taylor Swift's celebrity was the original plan in Miss Nathan's scenario planning document, and it continues to this day. Faced with having to justify themselves in court, they folded. At some point, they will run out of distractions from the actual claims of harassment and retaliation that they're facing.
This is nonsense, dude. This
bullshit.
This is a procedural thing. This is nonsense.
It is.
I can't even say much because it will get Zack's YouTube channel deleted if I spoke my mind right now.
No, but like the reality is, if anybody's playing these games that they're trying to accuse the Wayfair parties of doing, it's literally the Lively parties that, as we just said, how many motions did they file within the last 2 weeks alone? It's insane that they're trying to make it seem like, Baldoni's team is the one that's putting out this stuff. With no settlement on the horizon, Lively and Baldoni are set to face off in court on March 9th, 2026.
I mean, you have to laugh, don't you? Like, the way she's whinging about exploiting someone's celebrity when, she's sending out text messages referring to dragons, and every interview on the like at Book Bonanza and everything, it was, oh, my friend Taylor Swift, oh, these are Gigi's, shoes, dresses, whatever. She name dropped at every point.
Interesting. It did say Taylor Swift's team responded to with a simple no comment.
But this could mean if they've withdrawn the subpoena, they may have the information. It doesn't mean that they've walked away with nothing. We don't know.
Someone did say that there's a part in the article where it says that they got the information
was provided. Yep.
Zack, it said they got the info from Taylor Swift.
The
Baldoni's team got the info?
I'm desperately looking for this.
I'm trying to find. Let's see. Has withdrawn the paperwork seeking information.
Yeah, it said, and it was dropped because the details that Brian Friedman that Brian Friedman, who represents Baldoni and crew, were provided. Yeah, it does say that. So wait, I'm not sure what she's celebrating here.
So
nothing.
Then,
just like banking on people like me skimming this article and missing that part.
So basically, they're saying that Friedman got his information. He got the information that he was seeking. It was provided.
Yeah, which is what he said he would do. He said, well, if
he said that they were talking. He's like, we were in good faith. Wait. Okay, so then explain this to me legally, Leanne. How is it that so they filed the subpoena to get the information, and then the information was provided? So then why did they withdraw the subpoena?
Because they no longer need it now. It's been, the subpoena is to kind of legally compel someone to give something, but it's no longer it's moot, I suppose is the best way to put it, because he's got the information without the subpoena is there, so you can enforce it then if you don't get the information.
Got it.
If he's got the information, he no longer needs a subpoena, so he no longer needs filings, and the Livelies can't, intervene or, do anything about it anymore.
Interesting.
I just sent you a link in private chat too.
It says it right here. Here, I'll just outline it for everybody so we all see this clearly, and the internet can screenshot it and make sure that the Blake bots know. Part of the reason the summon was dropped was because details that Brian Friedman represented Baldoni and crew sought were provided.
Oh.
So they got what they wanted.
Yeah, they
got what they needed. So I'm assuming they got the messages that proved that Blake did try to extort. Blake and her team allegedly tried to extort Taylor Swift and her team.
This is my favorite kind of comedy, bro.
Which also then makes sense why Taylor Swift's team gave a simple no comment.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
No comment, but they haven't given a statement of support of Blake Lively.
No comments.
I just love how Deadline is now running with this and bearing the lead.
Wait, look at the Daily Mail thing I just sent you in the private chat there.
Oh my god, here, let me pull it up.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
It would only be better if they'd been written by that reporter who got subpoenaed.
Right? I wish I'd never met Blake. Oh my god. Okay, hold on. Let's pull up this article. This is hilarious. Is this new? This just came.
Yeah, go down to there's underneath all the ads and shit like that. It says right now, if Taylor had one wish, it would be that she never met Blake. An insider told the Daily Mail. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, right now, if Taylor had one wish, it would be that she'd never met Blake.
And you got Blake's PR out here like, please listen to what we're saying, and then Taylor's out here like, nah.
Although they've had good times during their relationship, the issues now concerning the Baldoni case have outweighed them. Well. I bet Taylor Swift is pissed. Well, because she was supposed to have her album drop. Like, Taylor had everything all lined up, and now everything surrounding Taylor is being linked back to Blake. And I would imagine that the news of Taylor getting to buy back her original albums or her original tracks from Scooter Braun, that news, I would imagine, was pushed by Taylor's team so that there was something else being talked about rather than Blake and Taylor.
I am looking forward to seeing what Friedman's got. But I can't wait to do that thread.
I'm sure. Yeah, I predict we'll have a statement from him soon. All right, guys. Well, I know you're both very busy. You both have YouTube channels. Do you want to shout out your YouTube channels for everybody to go check out?
Lauren, you go first. I've got to find mine.
Yeah, you can find me anywhere. Quarter Random Opinion on YouTube, or it's Lethal Lauren 904 anywhere else.
It's linked in the description too. If you click on their names, it should take you directly to.
It's my Fortnite name, guys.
Yeah.
I never meant to start a YouTube channel.
So mine is Leanne Newton 1572. I'm currently doing I do like a recap thing, but I also do deep dives of the people involved in this and the lawsuits. Like they've been talking about, so and so's been sued by this person and that person. So I do all that. I cover all of that and break it down.
Yeah, we have lots of good videos breaking it all down on your YouTube channel. And then Lauren, we also have yours, the Court of Random Opinion, Lethal Lauren 904 on YouTube as well. And then you guys are also both great on X. Leanne has great recaps that she gives on X. So if you guys are on X, go follow Leanne Newton, because that's where when I'm like, I need this broken down for me in layman's terms, and I need to read it 3 times over so I can fully digest it, I go to Leanne's X account.
Yeah, we kind of work in like a relay thing where Lauren is, straight away to read it all.
The second a document drops on the docket, Lauren's like live. I'm like, oh, 5 seconds ago, a document dropped, and then I checked 5 minutes ago, Lauren is live.
Bro, I'm about to be in Australia for a little bit, so that's going to be taxing. Okay, so I mean, I'm going to keep trying though.
Well, don't ditch me like Taylor Swift ditched Blake.
I would never do that. You have way too much back hair. I love it.
Oh yeah, we need that one last time before we close this out.
Why do you have this readily available?
It's just ready to go now.
You should have heard me laughing backstage when you talked about the hair mist.
That's what
God.
he needs, the Blake Lively hair mist for his back. And then it'll just always smell so yummy because Ryan Reynolds loves it. He loves how unisex the fragrances are.
Do you know what I'm most annoyed about with that though is that she's brought out a hair mist
And the gloss
and she
back?
still hasn't got to a conditioner, for God's
I
sake.
know.
I don't get it.
That's hilarious. Christy says this is why they call him Big Yeti. He does look like quite the Big Yeti here. Could you just imagine when Taylor Swift's lying with him in bed and she's just rubbing her fingers all through his hair? So yummy.
No, but I am now.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Go subscribe, follow Leanne, follow Lauren, show them some love. And if you're here watching this right now, streaming this right now, or listening on Apple or Spotify, definitely like, subscribe, comment, and do all the things. Show some love. And I'll be back here tomorrow. Leanne, Lauren, thank you guys again. Love you.
Zach.
Appreciate you.
Thank
I'll
you.
talk to you guys tomorrow.
Love you too. Thank you so much. See you. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye, guys.